Leo, welcome to the realm of astrology. In this video, I will break down the long-term energies in your chart. I will talk about Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron, the North Node, the South Node, and what these mean for you, Leo. Now, I would recommend watching this for your Leo rising sign. If you're a Leo rising, then I would recommend going with this and then watching your sun sign. So go to your rising sign first and then sun sign second. And so this video is for Leo rising, and then come back to it if you are a Leo sun. But first, watch your rising. Now, that being said, I also want you to know, Leo, that I do daily horoscopes, weekly horoscopes, monthly sun rising sign horoscopes that you can watch all on my YouTube channel. And I also request you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. Now, Leo, first thing I want to mention is that this chart is open to a 0 Leo, right? 0 degrees of Leo. Now, if you are, say, a 28-degree Leo, right? Your rising sign starts at 28 degrees of Leo. You might resonate more with Virgo rising. So you can watch that. Basically, make sure that whichever house I talk about, say if I say Saturn is in your 7th house, but it's not. If it's still in your 6th house, then you'll resonate more with Virgo. So just make sure the planets are in the correct houses. So that's one thing that I wanted you to know. And I will make a video soon on how to find your rising sign if you don't already know it. Okay, that being said, let's begin. So Leo, the first thing I want to talk about is Saturn. Okay, Saturn is here. Now, Saturn is considered a planet of hard work, right? Hard work, discipline, decisions. And Saturn also brings with it delays and disappointments. And why is this relevant? Because this is relevant because wherever Saturn is transiting in your chart, right now it's in your 7th house, as you can see, it asks you to work hard in those areas of your life that are represented by the 7th house. In this case, marriage, business partnerships, and legal issues. So that's that. Saturn basically comes into a house, asks you to work hard, and it does not reward you immediately. The rewards come later with Saturn. So it can feel like a very frustrating process. You know, you're putting in the work, you're doing this hard work, but nothing's happening. But that's the key with Saturn. You just have to work and the rewards come later. And Saturn takes about 28 to 30 years to make one round of this natal chart, right? This chart, sorry, not natal chart, this chart. And when it enters a house, it stays there for about 2.5, 3 years. And it sets the matters of that house in order, so to speak. So it'll set that house in order, whether it's good or bad, whether you like it or not, it's going to do it. And it's going to set that base for the next 28 to 30 years. And Saturn is the ruler of this material reality. So wherever Saturn is, we feel it very intensely in our material world. And for you, Leo, Saturn is in your 7th house. And it has been there since December of 2020 and will be there till March of 2023. And what it is asking of you is to work hard, put in order things connected to marriage, serious relationships, business partnerships, and legal issues. Okay. Now, that being said, let's talk about where Saturn has been. Okay, because I want you to understand your chart, not just right now, but maybe the past year or 2 years as well. So Saturn was in your 6th house, right? It was in your 6th house between 2017 and 2020. And in your 6th house, Saturn made you work hard, asked you to be disciplined and put things in order, connected to your job, connected to your health. Things like day-to-day routine, habits, exercise, diet, nutrition, all those things are also part of the 6th house. So somewhere you might be working on those areas as well. See, if you didn't have a health change, if you didn't have a job change, if something connected to your diet changed, if your habits got streamlined in the past 3 years, between 2017 and 2020, that was Saturn, okay? That was Saturn. The change up in your routine, all those things could have happened with Saturn in your 6th house between 2017 and 2020. And now Saturn is asking you to work towards your relationships, marriage, business partnerships, and put those things in order over the next 2 years, till 2023 March. That's Saturn, right? Now, Saturn has been doing a lot of things. So let's talk about those things. And these things, these events that are happening with Saturn Leo are rare, right? Now, the first event is the Saturn-Uranus square. Now, this is the main theme of 2021, and I'm making this video in 2021, right? It is the theme of 2021. We will see this energy in 2022 as well. And this energy we are witnessing after 21 years, so a long time. And what this energy demands of us is to get rid of old things, old patterns, old habits, old anything that does not serve us any longer. It also asks us to embrace the new. It also asks us to embrace our authentic self. And essentially, it becomes a battle of sorts between the old and the new. What goes, what stays. Who do I think I should be versus who I actually am, right? That's what this energy is asking of us. It's asking us to shed the old, embrace the new, shed the idea of who we should be and become who we actually are. And there is a difference, Leo. So that's the basic energy. But for you, Leo, this is happening in your 7th and 10th house. Now, 7th and 10th house are very important houses. So you will feel this energy very intensely. So essentially, this tug of war, this pull and push between the old and the new, you will feel on one hand when it comes to serious relationships, business partnerships, your legal issues. And on the other hand, 10th house, your career. So very strongly, what is highlighted for you are two things. One, your marriage, business partnerships, legal issues. And two, your career. Now, this is the career where you set your business up, right? Mostly connected to businesses. Could be your job as well, but mostly connected to businesses. So that's the first thing Saturn is doing, Leo. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, Leo, is the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Now, these planets met up in December of 2020, right? So not very long ago. And they meet up once in 20 years. So it's a rare thing as well. And when they meet up, they set the base for the next 20 years. It's a new beginning for the next 20 years. And this happened at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So technically that makes it your 7th house, right? But it could also not be your 7th house and it could be your 6th house, for example. Check your chart to know where 0 degrees of Aquarius lies. That's where you have the new beginning. But for this chart, I'm going to talk about 0 degrees of Aquarius being in the 7th house. And that was a new beginning, a powerful new beginning when it comes to your serious relationships, your business partnerships, and legal issues. And Leo, in the next 2 years, you will figure this area out for your life. What's it going to be for the next 20 years? Who's going to be my spouse? Who's going to be my business? Who are going to be my business partners? If I am having legal issues, how do I resolve them? How do I deal with them? What's the next step? So in the next 2 years, this will be the focus so that you can spend the next 20 years till about 2040 in that cycle. You know, like that. These are the 2 years where you set the base for the next 20 years. And what comes with a new beginning, Leo? An ending. There could have been an ending also when it comes to marriage, serious relationships, business partnerships, legal issues. And it could also, it's not necessarily that a business partnership ends. It could end, yes. But it could also be that the way it used to be, it has changed, it has transformed, and it has ended the way it used to be, and it has began in a new way. So it could be any one of these things. Now, another thing that Saturn has been doing, Leo, let's talk about that, is that it met up with Pluto, right? Saturn here met up with Pluto at 22 degrees of Capricorn. Now check 22 degrees of Capricorn in your chart to know which house it is in. For the purposes of this video, it lies in the 6th house, right? So these two planets meet very rarely, 33 to 38 years. And they met up in Jan of 2020. and changed our material reality in a very powerful way and began a new cycle, a cycle that will stay with us till 2053, Leo. And that happened in your sixth house of job, health, day-to-day routine, diet, exercise, all these things. So there could have been a shift in your routine, in your diet, in your health matters, in your job, in all these things. And right now, in 2021, we've understood a lot of what that cycle was about, but not fully. And I think we will set the base in the next 2-3 years as well for this cycle that will be with us till 2053, Leo. So that's a lot of Saturn talk, I know. Just one last thing, because it's important for you specifically, Leo, and that is that Saturn is in Aquarius. Now, why is it important to you? It's important to you because Aquarius is your opposite sign, right? You are Leo, and what's the opposite? Aquarius. And when Saturn is in Aquarius, it is opposing your first house, right? And if you are a Leo sun, then it is opposing your sun or will oppose your sun at some point or another. But the Saturn energy will be overlooking the Leo energy for at least, opposing the Leo energy for at least till 2023, right? So what this means for you is that for a Leo rising, it is opposing the first house. It is asking you to work on your identity, work on who you are. If you are a leader, then becoming a better leader. And this requires hard work. This requires discipline. This requires dedication. So you're not just figuring your relationships out. You're not just figuring your marriage out with Saturn. You're not just figuring out your legal issues, the legality of things, right? You're also figuring out your identity. You're also figuring out your leadership stuff. So it's very important, the Saturn transit to 2023 for you specifically. Now let's talk about, I think that's all that I wanted to say about Saturn. Now that being said, there are numerous individual differences in each chart. These houses are equal houses. Your houses may not be equal. If say you were born on a higher altitude, you may have a bigger house, right? So this changes things up, but this will give you a good base. But the best thing is to know where the planets are in your chart. Okay, next thing I want to talk about, let's say, is Uranus, right? So Uranus is an energy that wants you to break free. It wants you to break free to be your authentic self, to be your unique self. And for that purpose, it'll get rid of things, it'll break things, it'll bring things into your life. Quite suddenly and unexpectedly, that's Uranus. So I told you what Saturn wants, I told you what Uranus wants. Now, Uranus for you, Leo, is in your 10th house, right? It's in the sign of Taurus, which is your 10th house. And it has been in the sign of Taurus since, I think, 2018, 2019. 2019 for certain. And it'll stay here till 2026, I believe. So good 7 years it's going to be in your 10th house. And what this means is that this 7-year transit of Uranus in your 10th house will suddenly shake things up in your business, in your career, so that you can be your authentic self. It'll push you in that direction. Now, for example, if there is a business project that is not in alignment with who you are, right, Uranus might get rid of that. But if there is a business, a way of doing business that's more in alignment with your truth, it'll bring that into your life. But with Uranus, all these changes, all these shifts can be unexpected, can be sudden. But the goal is that it will bring you closer to your authentic self, whatever it does. So a lot of highlight on your identity, you, on your marriage, on your business partnerships, and on your career. Those are the themes, the major themes that you're dealing with right now. Right, that's Uranus. And we already spoke about the Saturn-Uranus square, so you know about that. And the next thing I'll talk about is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is a 12-year cycle, right? And it spends about 1 year in each sign, which means 1 year in each house. And on May 13th of 2021, it entered your 8th house. Before that, it was in your 7th house. Now, let's talk about Jupiter being in your 7th house. So till May 13th, you can say from last year to this year, May 13th, approx, it was in your 7th house, Jupiter. And it was, what does Jupiter bring? Jupiter brings healing, lessons, blessings, gifts, and you received these things. Or you may have had to learn lessons connected to what? Again, marriage, business partnerships, legal issues. These are the areas very much highlighted for you, Leo. And now on May 13th, 2021, it entered your 8th house, meaning the blessings, the gifts, the lessons will be connected to 8th house matters. What are those? Those are intimate relationships, intimacy issues, investments, occult things, hidden things, personal karmic stuff. That's 8th house. And that's where it is going to bless you, it is going to give you gifts, it is going to bring about lessons. So with Jupiter, we often feel that it's all great, gifts, blessings, rewards. But it also wants us to learn. And sometimes that learning does not feel fun. Right, Leo? So that's Jupiter. And then let me tell you, so this is going to be here till 2022 in your 8th house, right? And then I think 2022 to 2023, it is going to be in what? Your 9th house. So that's, let me clean up the chart and write that because I myself am a little confused right now. Okay, so let me write that down. So it was here till 2020 to 2021, right? So 2021 to 2022, around May, it'll be in your 8th house. And here is 22 to 2023 in your 9th house. Now, Leo, 9th house, it'll bring you lessons, it'll give you gifts, it'll give you rewards, all those things connected to your belief system, connected to knowledge, wisdom. The 3rd house is the logical mind, right? It's the facts. It's the facts. But the 9th house is actual wisdom. So you might be receiving some wisdom with Jupiter there. It is also the house of adventure, of foreign travel, of higher education. So when Jupiter is there, these areas will start to feel blessed, gifted, or you might have to learn some lessons, right? So that's from 2022 to 2023. So that I've explained Jupiter, I've done Saturn, I've done Uranus. Now I'm going to talk about Neptune. Now, Neptune is very slow. It takes over 160 years, or approximately that much to make one cycle, right? So it's a slow planet, which means it spends a long time in a particular house. And for you, Leo, Neptune has been in your 8th house since 2011. It still has a few more years before it leaves your 8th house, before it leaves the sign of Pisces. And Neptune is on one hand, Neptune is the most magical planet. It is the planet of spirituality. It is the planet of the higher realms. It is the creative planet. It's the higher octave of Venus. But on the other hand, Neptune is the planet of delusions, of addictions, of drugs, of lies. It can really make us confused. It can cause a lot of confusion. And wherever Neptune is transiting, what does Neptune want? It wants us to connect to the higher realms, right? But Neptune energy can manifest in two ways. Through the matters of that house, it can take you spiritually higher, right? Or through the matters of that house, on the matters of that house, you can be very confused. You can be deluded. You may not be able to see things clearly. These two very distinct things can happen. Now let's talk about what those things are. So Neptune can connect you to the spiritual realm, to spirituality, to all those things through matters of the 8th house, which are what? Intimacy, intimate relationships, personal karma, occult things. Or it can make you very confused about these things. It can make you very confused about intimate relationships. You may not be able to see them clearly, your intimate partners, your intimate relationships. It is also the house of investments, so it may cause some confusion there. Right? What investment to make, what investment to not make. So that's going on since 2011. Right? Leo. Okay, why isn't this? Okay. There we go. Let me clear the chart and then let's move on. So we've done Neptune, we've done Uranus, we've done Jupiter, we've done Saturn. What are we left with? Let's talk about Pluto now. Pluto is an extremely slow moving planet. Very, very slow. 248 years to make one cycle. So when it transits a house, a particular part of your life, it stays there for years on end, right? Now, Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. So since 2008, it has been in your 6th house, Leo. Again, check your chart, right? It may not be in your 6th, it may be in a different house, depending on where 25 degrees of Capricorn is. Because Pluto right now in this chart is at 25 degrees. That being said, Pluto is very slow. It's been in Capricorn, which means your 6th house since 2008. And Pluto is the planet of spiritual transformation. It is the planet of purification. It transforms. It transforms in a powerful way where nothing stays the same. It is also the planet of destruction and endings and beginnings. So when Pluto transits an area, we go through total transformation. Total transformation. And this for you, Leo, is connected to your health, your job, your diet, your day-to-day routine, your habits. Right? Now, it could be that you have a habit, right? It could be any habit. And Pluto there has transformed it over the years, has ended that habit and instilled a new one. It could be a job. And another thing about Pluto is that it's very subtle. It's so slow that it's so subtle. It works in the background. It's subconscious. Like Saturn is it's quite visible, right? This changes in the feeling, the Saturn energy, we can see materially. But Pluto energy is like, something's wrong. But I can't explain what's wrong. Or I'm changing, but I can't explain what is changing me. I'm transforming, but I don't know where this transformation is coming from, what the trigger is. I have these fears, Pluto has fears as well. But I don't know. There's no rational basis for those fears. No, nothing has caused it, no material event. But I feel like that. That's Pluto, it's unseen, it's hidden. But it works deep in the subconscious. And it has been working in your subconscious subtly, slowly, and changing up your house of health, job, habits, day-to-day routine, diet, exercise, nutrition, all these things. And it'll be here till 2023 at least. And then it is going to come into your 7th house, and that we can speak in another video because till 2023 it will be in your 6th house, Leo. Now that's Pluto, right? And let's talk about Chiron now. Chiron is our deepest wound. It's also how we heal. And Chiron is slow as well. And wherever Chiron, okay, before that. Now Chiron, I said, is a wound and it's also healing, right? And but the healing that comes with Chiron is very peculiar. It's bittersweet. It heals us by digging that wound deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay, and after a point you say that used to bother me, not anymore. No, I'm not numb. No, I'm not ignorant. No, I'm not indifferent. I've just healed. I don't have that wound anymore. It used to be there. Used to be there in a very powerful way, but it's not anymore. And Chiron for you right now is transiting your 9th house, Leo. And this wounding, healing process for you is happening connected to your knowledge. to your wisdom, to your belief system. Foreign travel, adventure, higher education also play a role and fit into this. And it will stay here for a few more years. That's another thing you're dealing with. And before I close out the video, Leo, I want to mention the nodes. North node is Gemini, South node is Sag, right? Now, these are transiting in your 11th and 5th house. They have been here since May of 2020. Right? And what do the nodes do? The South node, which is in your 5th house, is a karmic cleanup. It cleans up karmic stuff. It activates karmic stuff as well, but it cleans up karmic stuff. All that karma that's ready to be pushed away, that you've dealt with, it cleans it up. Right, so let's talk about this. Since May of 2020, it has been cleaning up karmic stuff, deactivating, activating karmic things connected to love, romance, children, your creativity, hobbies, fun, pleasure, all those sorts of things. Okay, and it will continue to do so till 2022. And then it's going to enter your 4th house, Leo, right? And from 2022 to 2023, it is going to do the same thing, the karmic cleanup, the activation, deactivation of things connected to your home, your roots, your family, your deepest emotions. Maybe it cleans up emotional stuff that has been lingering for the past 18 and a half years, because the nodes are an 18 and a half year cycle. So this karmic cleanup in your house of love, Leo, is happening after 18 and a half years. And then from 2022 to 2023, it's going to do that karmic cleanup, activation, deactivation, connected to your deepest emotions, connected to your home, family foundation, right? And now let's talk about the North Node. But before that, let me clean up the chart a little. It gets really messy like this. So let me clean it up. Okay, I'll use this today. There. Is that better? Actually, I prefer the pen. Let's try this. Okay, let's use the pen. I think that's sharper. The North Node is in Gemini, your 11th house, and it has been here since May 2020, right? And it has been activating karmic things connected to your social circle, the groups that you belong to, right? It's not your closest friends that this house represents, it's your social circle, like the acquaintances that you have, the clubs that you belong to, the organizations that you're a part of. So it's activating karmic things connected to that. And it's also activating karmic stuff connected to your hopes, goals, and dreams. And if science, tech, all that activism apply to you, then those as well. And then it is going to come into your 10th house, Leo, 2022 onwards. And when it does, it is going to activate your house of career. That happens next year though. From 2022 to even 2023 ending 2024. So that's the notes for you. Now I think I've covered everything. So Leo, a lot of emphasis is, I prefer the sketch pen, so I'm going to use that. A lot of emphasis for you is in what? 10th house, 7th house, 1st house, 5th house, 11th house. Will be in the 4th and 10th in the future. So this is a lot of energy dealing with very important aspects of your life, right? Very visible aspects of your life. Because there are certain houses that are not very visible and one feels them internally. But these houses that you are dealing with are very external. What do I mean by that? 5th house is love and romance, right? Children. 7th house is marriage. 10th house is business. 1st house is you. 11th house is the social circle, the groups that you belong to. These form the basis, right, of anybody's life. So you're going through a lot of changes. And the focus is your business and your marriage and your love life. At least this year. Next year, it's going to be your home and your business. But the house of business and marriage is the focus for the next 2 years at least. And yes, we've spoken of Neptune, we've spoken of the North, so you know where those energies are hitting your chart as well. But again, this is just a general overview. Look at your chart, look at where the planets are, and then decide. And again, if you are, say, a 28-degree Leo, a Virgo reading might resonate more with you. So that's all I'm going to leave you with, Leo. And the reason I did this video is because at one point, I wish I'd known these things about my chart, right? Like, what am I asked to work towards? Why am I feeling so stuck, right? Why am I dealing with the things that I'm dealing with? And if I had known, I think it would have been easier on me to go through those transits or go through those things. So that's my goal. And again, this is just a general, it really depends where your houses start, where they end, how big your houses are, all that stuff. So, but I just wanted to put out a general video out there. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, then I hope something will resonate with you. And do hit the subscribe button, do hit the bell icon, and I will see you in one of my other videos, Leo. Have a great day. Bye.